Oh my god, the spine is cracked. I got this in a giveaway that I won from my friend's giveaway. I'm just ready to get into this one. Is Before I Let Go by Renity. I combine her last name with her first name. Probably going to read it first and see if I want it, or just buy it before I read it. Hi, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we are going to be talking about the 25 books that I want to read in 2025. It's a bit tricky just because my goal for 2025 is to read 25 books. So I might try to read everything that's on my list for these 25 books, or obviously I might be in some other mood and I might pick up something else that's not on this list, because there are a lot of books not included on here that I also have on my radar, but I couldn't really fit obviously more than 25. But I have a list in my 2025 reading journal, which I'll also be making a video of. I made a list, and this was kind of last minute because I was like, okay, if my goal is 25, there's no way I can make like a 25 books in 2025. But I've seen a lot of people doing it. I think it's really fun. So I made my little spread here. So we're just gonna go through all the books. And basically I have 14 books that are physical, and then the 11 that are left are probably going to be Kindle reads, hopefully, if it's on there, Kindle Unlimited. I'm going to go in order from how the stack is in front of me, and then we'll go through the ebook or Kindle books that I have on this list. So first book we have is Sweet Hand by N.G. Peltier. This book I found at a Black Friday store here, and I just really love the cover. It actually is book one of a series, so we'll see how far I get with the whole series, but I just thought it was really cute. And I don't know if it's just me, but I love when books, like the paper is like pure white inside. I think this is gonna be a super cute romance. I'm on page 2, so haven't really gone that far. But I'm also gonna hear the audio at the same time. I think that would be really cool. But yeah, this is one of the books that I have on my physical TBR that I definitely want to get to. And that I've started a little bit, but we're on the right track. Then we have Never Lie by Frida McFadden. This one I'm super excited to read. I actually don't know what this is about at all, but I read The Housemaid and I really liked that one. I'm so excited for the movie to come out. And the cover is kind of like the one before this one, and the pages are white inside, so you know that's a bonus for me. Mystery thriller kind of vibe, and I'm just like super excited. One that reveals the entire horrifying truth. Yep, this is on my physical TBR and I'm gonna be reading it, hopefully. Then we have a book that's been on here quite a while. This is The Secret Life of Albert Entwistle. I always get mixed up trying to say his last name, but I think I got it right, hopefully. I don't know. This is by Matt Cain, and look at the cover. I actually got this in Orlando when they were doing a blind date with a book, and I chose this one. And it's just super cute. I love the cover. I also don't know really much about it. In a wonderfully life-affirming and surprising story of human connection and second chances, a shy 60-something postman opens his heart to love again, transforming the lives of those around him. I love that. Definitely going to be higher up because I love this. Then we have Bride by Ali Hazelwood. This one has also been on my shelf for a while. How did I get this? Oh, I think I got this at I got this at the Steamy Lit bookstore in Deerfield, Florida. I bought it when it was like newly released, but I just never touched it. I think I read the first page and then for some reason I didn't go back. Like I didn't finish it at all. But I've also heard mixed reviews about this because this is her first paranormal romance, and she's a vampire and he's a wolf. So I've heard different things, but I'm excited to like get into it and see what my thoughts are. Then we have Wait For It by Jen McKinley. This one has a sticker. I'm scared to take it off. This was in a Goodwill. Found this at Goodwill. Oh my god, the spine is cracked. But I believe this is another romance. A woman looking for a new lease on life moves to Arizona, where she rents a guest house on a gorgeous property with a mysterious owner. Very mysterious. Little romance. Who doesn't love a little romance? I love all the romance. So then we have The Last Flight by Julie Clark. This is a mystery thriller, I believe. I picked this one up at Goodwill as well. It says 2 women, 2 flights, one last chance to disappear. I believe 2 women switch flights and then one plane ends up crashing. So definitely mysterious. And I definitely want to get into more thrillers and mysteries. This is why I kind of included this one and Never Lie by Frida McFadden. I want to get into more thrillers, but also I want to get into more fantasies as well. So I'm trying to read all of them. Then we have Heart of the Raven Prince by Tassancha Odette. I am specifically excited for this one because this is fantasy. I got this out of Goodwill and I don't know. I love the cover. It's a Cinderella retelling entangled with Fae. So a playboy prince in want of a decoy bride, a servant girl desperate for a disguise. I don't know why I've waited so long to read fantasy. I feel like fantasy is like very interesting. Like you have fairies, you have fae, vampires, wolves, like just literally everything you would want in a story. Like this is gonna be so good. It's a little bit thick, which kind of intimidates me, but I think this one is gonna be a great read. Then we have Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. This one definitely has been on my shelf for a long time. Most of these honestly have been. I got this in a giveaway that I won from my friend's giveaway. But I won this and I won another book as well. I've just seen so many people talk about how this is their favorite book. The romance, the writing. I actually read this and sadly it wasn't my favorite, but I'll definitely talk about that more in my January wrap up. But this is definitely a book that I wanted to read and I did get to read this one already. Then we have The Predator by Runix. This one has also been on my radar for a long time. I think I saw TikTok once talking about how this series of dark romance was really good. So it was always on my list and I finally bought it at a bookstore, and this was my first read of 2025. So we can say that I actually read this one as well. And the paper's white. This is actually my first dark romance, I believe, ever? Maybe? I definitely like the story. I want to continue with it. I've personally never read a romance book that didn't end in one book. Like, you know how there's like one book and then you have a series that's like about another couple? Well, this one continues in the second book with the same couple, and I've never read a series like that, if that makes sense. So I'm super excited to continue with the second one. Then we have 7 Days in June by Tia Williams, and I'm super excited for this one too. I've heard a lot about it. 7 days to fall in love, 15 years to forget, and 7 days to get it all back again. So probably reconciliation, past relationships. I just think it's gonna be a really good read and I've heard a lot about it, so super excited to have this on my list. Then we have Brutal Prince by Sophie Lark, which is another read that I'm super excited to read about. This series, honestly, the cover is stunning. All the other covers are stunning. I believe this is another dark romance. I'm just ready to get into this one. There's so many books to choose from when you want to read, which is why I guess people do TBRs where it's chosen for you based on different things. But sometimes I feel like I need to be in a mood to pick a specific book. So I don't know. They're a match made in hell. Well then. This one's gonna be super interesting. Then we have Dating Dr. Dill by Nisha Sharma. This one is the second book that I won in that giveaway with Part of Your World, and I also haven't read it yet. Love has made its match. Honestly, I want to be a book illustrator. Please tell me how, because it's so cool. But definitely gonna try to read this one as well. And the last book on my physical TBR is Before I Let Go by Renity. combine her last name with her first name. Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. I mentally put on my TBR for January, but I'm just so scared it's gonna be heartbreaking that I've kind of put it off for this month at least, but I have to read this soon. A scorching novel about hope and healing and what it truly means to love for a lifetime from a powerhouse writer. I know I have to read this so bad, but I'm so scared, but also so excited. I've heard that her writing is great, that her books are great, so I'm definitely gonna get into this one. I don't know which month, but I will before the year ends. Okay, so we just finished going through my physical TBR that I have on hand for the books that I want to read this year. And now we're gonna go through the other 11 that I want to read as well, but that I don't have the physical copy of. There are some that I do want the physical copy of. Probably going to read it first and see if I want it, or just buy it before I read it. Actually, just thinking right now, I'm missing one book. I'm missing this one. This is another one that I'm going to read. This is The Mountain Is You by Brianna Wise. This one, I just mentally need to read it for myself. I think it has a lot of information that could really help me as a person through things that I've gone through. My mindset, I just think it'll be a really good book for me. So I definitely want to prioritize it. I'm actually currently reading it. Haven't gotten that far. I'm only on page 19. But this is something that I've just kind of put off because of the fear of reading what's inside. But definitely going to get through this one as well. So the first book that I want to read that I don't have is Divine Rivals. Okay, Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. I, for one, love the cover. Stunning. I don't really know what it's about at all, but I've heard people talk about how great the writing is, how great of a story it is, that I'm just like very intrigued by it. So that's why it's on this list. Super excited, hopefully, to get to that one. Then we have Powerless by Lauren Roberts. This one I've heard is like Hunger Games style romance, maybe. But that also scares me because I feel like I don't really care for a Hunger Games type book. I've heard some people say it's kind of like the exact same thing. I've heard people say it isn't. So honestly, I'm probably just gonna have to give it a try, but it's just very intriguing. Everyone has loved that book. And if I'm correct, she's like on her 4th book now, so she's been writing. Next up is Powerless by Elsie Silver. This one definitely have to get through because I read Flawless and Heartless last year, and I'm missing 3 more books in that series, and I think Powerless is the next one. Don't know what's that one about either. I haven't really looked into it, but definitely on my list. Then we have Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. This one obviously has been everywhere. People have read Fourth Wing, Iron Flame. They're waiting for Onyx Storm that literally comes out in like 2 days. I have my sister specifically who's like obsessed with it. Since I want to get into fantasy, I need to figure out like what the hype is about. I need to learn if I'm gonna love the characters, the story. Obviously fantasy is something different, but I just want to dive into it. But I think part of me is just so scared. I've just been strictly romance that it's like hard to get into other genres, but I think this is the year where I get to explore. Okay, where I get to explore and just like figure out new reads, and who knows, maybe those new reads will be favorites of mine. So just gotta dive in. Next up is King of Envy by Anna Huang. Okay, I've read King of Wrath, King of Pride, King of Greed, King of Sloth, and obviously the 5th one is King of Envy. My favorite so far I think has been King of Wrath. My least favorite I think has been King of Greed. But they're somewhere up there, but you can't see on my bookshelf. I'm like super excited to keep going with that series. There's also The Striker that she came out with. That one is exceptionally very thick. That's also on my reader, but it's not on this list specifically. But yeah, I love her books, I love her writing, and her Twisted series is getting a TV show, which I think is super exciting. But yeah, King of Envy on my radar. Then we have Wild Love by Elsie Silver. This is her new series, I think the Rose Hill series, if I'm not mistaken. I've heard a lot of people say Wild Eyes is their favorite. Is it Wild Eyes? Is it Wild Eyes? I don't know, but Wild Love to start off the series is on my list. I don't know what it's... Wait, actually, is Wild Love about the single dad trope? Maybe. I heard something about that, but I don't know if I'm confusing the first two books. We'll see when I get into it, but Wild Love by Elsie Silver is on my list as well. Then we have A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. I started A Court of Thorns and Roses. Yeah, I said it right. I read the first book. My sister was trying to get me to get into it, to get into fantasy. But I don't know what happened, that I read the second one like halfway through or almost halfway, and then I kind of stopped. So I want to continue the series. So I'm going to try to get back into the second book. Obviously, I'll probably start from the beginning because I don't really remember. I remember bits and pieces, but obviously to get that full effect again and to really remember everything, I'm probably going to start from the beginning. But yeah, on my list. Then we have Mile High by Liz Tomford. I've heard a lot of people say they do not like the first one. And then there's also half of other people that actually really love the first one. But they say that the series as a whole is like amazing. And I think she's coming out with the fifth book. So I'm super excited to get into that one. And if you've noticed, I've kind of just put like the first book in different series on this list because obviously I have to read the first one in order to get to the other books in each series. Then we have Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. Very anticipated. She's like one of my favorite authors ever. My favorite book by her is Beach Read. That book is top tier for me and just super excited. I feel like it's gonna be something very different and I just can't wait to read what the story is about. I don't think I've really read the synopsis or the summary of what the book is gonna be about yet, but super excited. Love her books. I can't wait. Then we have Heartless Hunter by Kristen Ciccarelli. This book specifically, I watched a whole bunch of 2024 book videos, like the summary, tier rankings, and different things like that, wrap-ups, and a lot of people really included this book, and I think it's like super interesting. I think the cover is beautiful. I've seen people talk about how it's about a witch and a witch hunter, and then there's like a romance between those two, if I'm not mistaken. So I really wanna... Honestly, I kind of want the physical copy because the cover is stunning and I believe it's part of a series. There's a new one coming out. I don't remember the second one, the second title, but this one just really caught my eye, so that's why I kind of put it on my list. And now we've reached the last book on my list, which is Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. So obviously I haven't read Bride, I haven't read Not in Love, but obviously these are just standalones. So I put Deep End because it's her latest release, but obviously I want to read those other books too. They're also on my radar, but we'll see when I get to them. I don't know what it's about either, but the cover is stunning, so we shall see. So these are the 25 books that I want to read in 2025. I feel like I have a good chance of reading most of these just because I am really trying to focus on my physical TBR, and because I have a lot of physicals on this list, I think I could be successful in reading them, hopefully. I feel like I'll also, maybe based on my mood or like what I want to read, my turn to read something else that's not on this list once in a while, but for the most part I feel like I'm gonna be able to fulfill them. But I'm so glad you guys clicked on this video to hear about my 25 books that I want to read in 2025. I'm super excited. But thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to see you in my next video.